Okay, kids, we're going to get started in a second. We got about another 3 minutes. It's Dr. Cordy Williams. I know you can't see my face, and that's not because I'm doing anything weird, but I want you to see these flyers because the Recall Gavin movement is blowing up, as you know, and we've got some really cool, awesome events that we're going to be doing that are going to get a bunch of signatures. And the cool thing is other people are organizing them. So we get to show up and get a bunch of signatures. It's pretty awesome. I love when that happens. At any rate, we're going to play this for just another 30 seconds or so as people come on. And then I'm going to bring in Mr. Mike Netter. That is no S on the end. It's just Netter, that sweet and beautiful man. And I don't know if he's going to be wearing a tropical shirt or a shirt and tie, but I feel like I'm kind of his fashion designer a little bit. But I look forward to whatever that gentleman is going to be showing up in. At any rate, I'm going to turn it over to my technical guru, Haley Davies, and she's going to get us so we can see each other. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good stuff. So we're going to get things started now. I love it. Let people start continuing to come on. Going to bring Mr. Mike in, and then we're going to rock and roll. I think it's still okay to say rock and roll. So awesome.
Hi.
So good. If you saw the side of some hair, that was my wife who, she's learning the whole tech game. Okay, cool. My man. So we got 97 people on. It's still going up. I know we got more on Facebook, but I'm gonna give it a second before we get started as the names keep going. How do I see the side? I just messed it up. Do I go exit full screen? I'll do that. See, guys, it's been weeks and I still don't have this thing figured out. Okay.
And you probably never will, but I want to say, Cordy, getting started, it's really hard to make you happy. Tonight I decided to wear a shirt with no tie, although your tie would go good with my shirt.
Well,
and
I like the backdrop.
I might do that.
I really like the backdrop with the fireplace, Mike, because it makes me feel at home. And then, you know, all we need is some nice Davidoff cigars. That's my evil. Maybe some mahogany books, and it would really be like a man cave right there. I like it.
Well, here's my real hope that the guy whose house I broke into doesn't come home for at least 45 more minutes.
What am I going to do with you, man? You're still acting like you're in your 20s. My name's Dr. Cordy Williams, hashtag Megaphone Marine, 1776 Forever Free. And I am joined by the lovely and intelligent and amazing Mike Netter. Before he and I have our nightly banter, I know we started a little bit of that. We've got some kind of updates to talk about. I have an awesome special announcement. We'll start with that first of all. The Recall Gavin movement special guest for next week, or one of them, is going to be Miss Joy Villa. Miss Joy Villa, she's like an actress, a singer, an activist, an amazing woman, has a big following. She was just with Kayleigh McEnany probably about 2 weeks ago at the White House. She's the press secretary for the president, and for the White House for that matter. And just Joyville is an amazing woman, amazing patriot. I'm going to be speaking on stage with her, in fact, this weekend at the Walkaway movement that Brandon Strzok is organizing and doing. There in Sacramento at the Capitol. The Recall Gavin movement is going to be there and be strong. And we are going to have that beautifully wrapped trailer that I don't know who all facilitated that. Oren, Dan, Mike, just everybody involved. There's this beautiful Recall trailer that's going to be there. It is gorgeous, quite a sight, not for sore eyes, but a sight for beautiful Republican people that want to change democracy eyes. And so it's going to be really cool. And then Friday night, I'm going to be speaking with Dr. Judy Michkovitz and Peggy Hall, and we're going to be getting signatures. And there's 3 other really awesome speakers. I couldn't remember them all, so I apologize, but they're all amazing and good. And that'll be from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And you have to register for that on Eventbrite or eBrite, one of those. But Haley is going to put the link down. She doesn't know it yet. She's going to put the link down in the comments section of most of those Facebooks so that we can get everybody registered. And you were doing some wax on, wax off. Were you going to add to that? Mike's doing.
I was, because of
Go
those
ahead.
of you, those of you that got the email, the event Cordy's talking about, and you may, I'm sure most of you did, that email on the event Friday night with the link went out to 38,500 of you today. So there should be at least half of you attending that event to see Cordy speak and gather signatures. So in addition, if you can't copy it down fast enough from the screen, which is going to be in front of you, it's on the email that you got today announcing tonight's town hall. Back to you, brother.
If everybody knew how untechnically savvy that you and I are, but we deal with all this.
Speak for yourself.
Well, hey, I've heard you when the speakers don't work on your phone. So I'm just saying,
That's my equipment.
like, what's going on? It's like, I don't know about you, man, but I think that literally my phone's like a nuclear football sometimes. It's like there's launch codes and all sorts of crazy stuff. At any rate, enough of our banter. Guys, we do this every week to really motivate you guys, because sometimes when you're in the trenches, you can get demotivated. And what I want to say to you is one petition, one mission, 2 million signatures, right? $4 million. That's what we're going for. Okay. And so get out to these events, get other people out to these events. Mark Durham is an awesome guy. He's got that 5x5 technique that he does. You can reach out to Mark. He's very accessible. And Mark, I wanted to tell you, I didn't delete somebody yet to bring you in as a Facebook follower, but it's not because I don't love you, baby. Okay. So right here, heart, but we'll delete somebody soon to add you, Mark, because you're a patriot and I like patriots being part of my page. I don't know why they put a 5,000 limit. Otherwise I'd have all the patriots in there that could be the friend, but you're still my friend, even if you're not one of the 5,000. Okay, guys. At any rate, kind of talking about democracy, I heard a little rumor on the street about Adolf Newsom today, Mike. Did you hear anything about a home or a house and something to like get tax relief? OAN was reporting something. I didn't know if you knew anything about that.
I'm actually going to be on OAN this morning. It's really quite fascinating. Not that it has anything to do with this, but in a way that it does. So Gavin Newsom, I don't have the story directly, but understand he got basically gifted a $5.4 million mansion, because of course the mansion that the people did isn't good enough for him. And he's living in that mansion nearby, right? In effect, what he got was he got it through a company that he owns partially and friends of him own, and got a tax break on the way that it was gifted to him. So in effect, Gavin Newsom, and don't quote this exactly, but you'll get the gist of it, is paying about $100,000 in taxes on a $5.4 million gift. And before you get started again, this is really the crux of what's wrong with California. And every time I go on one of these shows or radio or Newsmax or do a newspaper article, they're like, well, can you name 3 reasons what's wrong with Gavin? And I've really been thinking about this, because who's got the time, right? The main thing to understand why we're all here, and I see the little things flash up on COVID, I see the little things flash up on schools, I see the little things flash. Here's really the crux of it, my friends. The governor of California has essentially, Gavin Newsom, has been dodging the bullet for a really long time. And I'm going to go on a little bit tonight, shocking to most of you, but goes even as far back as when he was commissioner of the city of San Francisco. Yes, before he was even mayor. He actually did some funny things we should have been charged, not even to mayor, but a certain mayor called Dianne Feinstein actually kind of shifted it so another commissioner had to resign from office. The list with Gavin goes on and on. And we know about the infamous scandals with his campaign manager's wife, etc. But this person has a lot wrong with their personal past, with what they're doing today, and just even most recently, and I dwell on this a lot because it really annoys me, and it should annoy you, that with all the people out of work and everything that's in the news this week, with people, you know, their unemployment's being cut off, what are we going to do? California's going to give it to undocumented immigrants before we do this, that, and the other. Here's something, again, I really want you to consider. Most of you know what a face mask looks like. I was going to carry one for a prop, but I don't like them. but story for another day. All right. That face mask, I think, and I see many on the street with one you made at home. Don't you find it relatively bizarre that as much faith that Gavin has in California, he didn't think California people out of work could produce a face mask? That he had to award a 985 million, that's close to a billion for those of you keeping track, tonight's going to be a numbers lesson, to the Chinese. Think about that. Really think about that. So what this really boils down to is Gavin kind of probably got around legally the way it was gifted on the mansion that Cordy's talking about, is we have a leader in California that's left us leaderless, that can't even make decisions. What should we open schools? What should we do? Where should we award contracts? How can we get the economy going? He can't even make decisions or pay enough attention to the state of California to lead it. And whether you agree or disagree with a leader has to lead. Could you imagine being in the Marines and doing any kind of exercise in a war, and your commanding officer goes, well, I don't know, maybe we should charge the hill, maybe we shouldn't, we probably should shoot them, but what do you guys think about using real bullets? I want you to really think about that, because that's the way Gavin is leading California. He's shifting back and forth. If he shifts, the lack of leadership is what is creating such a vacuum in California that the state is literally deteriorating before us. You know what's interesting, Cordy? You're supposed to ask what? That's your cue.
What? I did.
Thank you. I said, isn't what? Story for another day. We got to work on our act. Well, let me get to that in a second. All right. What's really interesting, as most of you hand out petitions to get signing, have you really looked at Newsom's rebuttal, which was kind of a canned rebuttal? But he said basically, when he wrote the rebuttal, when we got the petition, things are going really well. The economy is strong, the state's cranking along. So why would you want to recall me? All right, let me take that at face value for a second. Here I am less than 3 months later, only 50 days into the petition. We'll get to that. And if that's true, why you shouldn't be recalled, Gavin, when I was looking at the petition, it occurred to me yesterday, and I'm a bit slow, those of you know, but I'm looking at the petition going, well, you actually just listed in rebuttal all the reasons today that we should recall you. So next time someone asks you, why should we recall Gavin? And I don't know about you, most of us haven't owned a $5.4 million house and gotten a tax break that's probably equivalent to $1 million. I don't know about you, but I've never awarded a $985 million contract for face masks to a foreign government. And I don't know about you, but I've never signed a bill like AB 5 that's kept my friends from being out of work, or I probably wouldn't be having this conversation today. But I think most people understand simple lack of leadership. The reason that we're having these conversations and we have such a conflict is we have a leader in California who's not a leader. And lots of things in the news today about the national scene. I'm going to say this a few times tonight, and we're trying to drive a message home why you just have two squares. But Joy Villa, you mentioned her. She's going to be on our thing next week. She has a bad, pardon?
She's a cutie bear.
She is, and she has a fabulous, like Hollywood, because that's where she lives, video she just put out of her just walking down the streets saying, look what's right outside my home. It's all over Facebook, etc. Look at literally what outside my home in Los Angeles has become. And it's interesting because you look at some of these videos and you look at the lack of leadership that's been in California. And I got to tell you, at 63, I look at some of these videos and it's really hard. Your wife's looking in the picture again. It's really hard to believe.
Dr. Tanya, guys.
Got it. Hi, Dr. Tanya.
Mom.
Does that mean I need medical care, or is she simply just making sure you're in time?
No,
anyway.
She helps me spy on questions. from
Got
viewers
it.
and matriculate them. So I look really smart.
So
Yeah.
your work's cut out for you, Doc.
There you go.
Anyway, story for another day. What I'm trying to say is it's really hard to believe in these parts of California that most of us don't live in, that it's actually California. Think about that. That goes to the leader of our state. Now, when we talk about people like Joy Villa coming on the show next week, we talk about the film that Earl Weber did that's up 40 Reasons in 2 Minutes to Recall Newsom. There's literally so much material, and we're going to talk in a little bit about understanding, as serious as I can be, about the enormity of the task that we have in front of us and why we need to unite to get it done. And I want to stress again, you don't need to get into specific debates about things most of us don't understand. Stick your head out your window and take a look around. And if you're not sticking your head out the window in the COVID virus and taking a look around at what's happening in California, then my suggestion to you is, even with COVID over, be very afraid to even come out of your house. We have to recall this governor. This is a critical time in the history, not only in the state, but of the country. Don't worry, I'm going to let you talk in a few minutes, but I want to stress again the enormity, how important it is that we do what we need to do. The task in front of us is large. The heat outside is hitting 95 degrees here in Los Angeles. People get testy. People don't, they're like, we're going to argue over this little point of the things that we're doing. The enormity of our task, I'll get to later in this broadcast, is relatively large, but it has to be done, which is why we're taking it on. I'm going to go back to you and let you talk a little bit about the events that we're doing. The events that people are doing, okay, are to gather conservatives to spot to gather signatures. And with all due deference to all these events coming up, and I'm going to a great one. Come see me live, preferably not armed. Don't exercise your Second Amendment rights. This Saturday at the County of Riverside Courthouse, I did a great one a couple of weeks ago on 2,300 people. Every event is important, but understand we are down to the point where we must take specific action. That uniting specific action is what? Recalling Gavin Newsom. I understand Prop 15 is going to raise our property taxes. Don't vote for it. But get the that I approved putting it on the ballot. I understand in some spots there's a debate over schools opening or schools not. I get it. Go scream to your school board. They may or may not listen to you. I understand some of your beaches and your restaurants and your businesses are being hit up. Do what you got to do. But the most specific action you can take and get everybody to take is participate in this recall. And do not debate amongst each other as we move the recall forward. These events, as important as they are, and the mantras and the philosophy and the things that people talk about, as important as they are, the one specific thing you can do with those events and walk away from is getting that petition signed and getting it to the right spot. And that right spot, we're shifting a bit because we have to grow and change the way that we attack this. Good news, you're getting some airtime.
I love it. No, it's all good. Well said, my friend. And you know, I totally agree, obviously, with everything you said there. I think it's interesting from, you know, the masks and the China deal to, you know, the hypocrisy about, you know, everybody else has their businesses closed down. Their businesses are suffering. Adolf Newsom has his cute little winery with Nervous Nancy. They're doing really well, and they're handing out drinks, and kind of seems like she's been, I don't know if she's got an IV of her own wine into her veins, and that's why she's so crazy and loopy, maybe.
She's actually embalmed.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, she actually died 3 years ago. She's merely a hologram, but that's
Okay,
a story
well,
for
that
another
would kind
day.
of go with Hollywood, like backing the left and everything. And so maybe this is just a really bad Hollywood production.
Well, I got another question for you. We have two state senators. Now, apparently Kamala Harris has got her face ironed, or I'm sorry, they call it Botox today. And we kind of know where she's at. But where the blank is our other state senator?
Nervous Nancy or Shifty
No,
Shift?
they're representatives. Can you name
Oh,
our other
that's
state
true.
senator?
That's true. No, not
Where is
I know
Feinstein?
Nervous Nancy. There's Feinstein. There's Shifty Shift.
Okay, so let's
And
talk Feinstein. Why we do a census is to arrange so we get less shifts because people are moving out of California. But it's funny that you bring it up and I'm on a roll tonight. Good news is I only drink water, not caffeine. But here's the story
Thank
that
God
I
you didn't
find
drink
very
alcohol.
interesting. Right. I don't do that either because who can afford to? I would have to go to Newsom's winery. Story for another day. But is Feinstein in the witness protection program? Seriously? When's the last time you saw a public statement from this person?
Wow.
We've had fires in the state. We've had COVID burning and rocking it down. We have Pelosi, Speaker of the House. Hi, I'm about 76 and I'm getting close, so I should talk, right? And I'm embalmed. My liquor bill is probably more than I pay my staff. Story for another day. But Feinstein is completely out of the picture. We have not heard a word from her. And what's interesting about Kamala Harris, and I'll tell you why I'm ranting on this here in a second, about Kamala Harris is when's the last time she made a comment on a current California issue? I was reminded that she may be Biden's running mate, and she talked about when she was 7 years old in these debates. But when is the last time our United States senators made a comment on and taken any action on a current situation in California? Now think about that. That goes back to Shifty Shift and the rest of them. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, I actually have a point, which is shocking but true. All right. The point that I have is, in spite of all this online crapola that you see, and I'm going to be straightforward crapola, you cannot recall a federal official. Do you understand that? There is no way to recall a federal official. You don't like them, don't vote for them. Good luck to you, because Pelosi gets twice the number of average votes. Story for another day. So understand, as much as we don't like these people, I should rephrase that. I rarely hear from them. I really do think they're in witness protection or deceased. Story for another day. Regis Philbin at this point would probably make a better senator. At least he would say more, and he's not even with us.
Or they could be in the bunker with Sleepy Joe too.
Well, it could be. That's highly possible, but at least there's evidence that Joe's still alive. But story for another day. My point is, you can take action by recalling Gavin Newsom. So we spend a lot of time, like in my little quasi-comedic rant, about public officials who are moving to the national scene out of California. Shifty Shift, Pencil Neck, or whatever the hell Trump calls them, who cares at the end of the day, spending way too much time trying to impeach Trump, trying to do this, trying to do that, but nothing about California. Maxine Waters is in her district doing just wonderful. Vote Joe Collins, right? Because her district certainly has vastly improved since she's been there for 30 years. But at the end of the day, it's all about the national issues, nothing to do with their state. The bad news is, again, you can do virtually nothing about it except during an election. A state official you can recall. We're starting at the top, and I'm going to get to those numbers, not the ones that we have today, but the ones where we need to be in just a few minutes. These events are important because they give us a chance to gather and spread the word and reach out to people that aren't aware you're wasting your time with an online petition. You're wasting your time ranting and raving about things you don't have control over.
Hey, Mike, can I interject real quick?
Good luck with that.
So thanks, brother. So there's a change.org that everybody's asking a question about. Guys, just like Mike just said, the change.org, if you sign it, it's not the real petition. So I want you guys to keep posting this and sharing this. If it's not, www.recallgavin2020.com. As they say in Alabama, it ain't real. Is there something you were going to add, Mr. Netter?
Matter of fact, so change.org, we've even talked to the gentleman who started the petition, and he's a good guy. He started to gain momentum. but I happened to look up change.org. Okay. George Floyd, a 15-year-old, started a petition on George Floyd and it got 12 million signatures. It changed absolutely nothing. Okay. The largest change.org signature, average signatures is 100 to 300,000. There are 500,000 of you who signed that online petition, Recall Newsom. Thanks for clicking the button on your computer. We do appreciate it. But if you don't sign in wet ink, you've wasted your time. So those same petitions, that same site like change.org and the others, many, and not the one of the Gavin Newsom one, so please don't take it this way, are put out by liberals, because you flip one over and there's all kinds of petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures on there. Because everybody, not you necessarily on this session, if you will, this Zoomcast or whatever the heck we call it, podcast.
I think it's just called Zoom.
Zoom, we'll call it Zoom. I like the word Zoom, okay? But the bulk of you out there, most people are too damn lazy to print, sign, mail. Yeah. They are watching their state mail melt down because they can't touch the button, but they're more than happy to give their emails to quasi-liberal organizations selling your email information. You want to change the state of California, you have to sign in wet ink. Print, sign, mail.
Love it. And what I would say too, to add to that, is it's not the official deadline, guys, but we talked about this on one of the first town halls. You got to start mailing these things. You should be mailing them now, mailing them in, but don't mail any that you want to be counted past November 7th. There's a high likelihood it could not get there by the 17th. So you got to remember that. So one petition, one mission, $4 million, 2 million signatures. You can donate to recallgavin2020.com, 1776foreverfree.com, carevival.com, all those places, donations, right? All of it's going towards one cause and moving the needle, either through rallies or either through getting people out there to take signatures and do this stuff to elevate it to a higher level. At any rate, we got a bunch of questions, Mike. So I think I'm going to move into that, if that's cool. Looking at this, first things first, there's so many good ones. I think I just wanted to state, this is more of a statement than a question by Miss Eileen, but I just wanted to throw it out there because I think it's important. And then Haley and Dr. Tanya have picked out some questions, and we're going to go down the line from there, guys. So we addressed the change.org. First of all, it's not real if it's on change.org. Guys, you got to get that out. If people are signing other petitions, the only lead proponent and only petition out there is Orrin Headley's petition of Recall Gavin 2020. Anything else is BS, okay, to put it bluntly. So Eileen said, to just add to our wonderful Adolph Newsom, that he receives $3.7 million mansion and 8 acres as a gift from the LLC owned by his cousin. He failed to pay a $4,000 transfer tax on that property by claiming to be a member of the LLC, which gifted the property to him. Through a cash out refinance, received $2.7 million for the same property. Newsom's financial disclosure forms don't mention the LLC or the gifts, which far exceed the 500 limit and disclosure requirement threshold. Drop the mic, Eileen. I love her. I'm giving you a virtual hug and a kiss. Love
and
it.
that goes back a little bit to what I was saying. Thank you very much, Eileen, for explaining that. And I really do mean that. But that's not typical of how most of us live their lives.
Yeah.
Right. If I got a gifted of blah, 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 $3 million, yeah, I would be paying for this recall myself.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. So another question that someone had, which I want to address this real quick, and then we're just going to go down the line is, and guys, I really want a lot of questions that we've gotten, and they're not bad questions, but over the last 4 or 5 weeks have been around, well, who's going to be on the ticket if he doesn't get elected? What happens in this scenario? Guys, I just really want you to simplify it right now, okay? The country is headed towards, in so many ways, and Mike, I know you would agree with me on this, socialism. And I think what you guys need to be more concerned about is if you don't get Gavin out of office, politically, it makes her, I should call him a her, but it makes him look more politically savvy. It strengthens his argument for president. And you know that the Democratic Party is going to be appointing him, right, in 2024. So I think the biggest thing, if you had no other reason to focus on it, like get the nasty insect or whatever vile profanity you can say on your own, because I'm not going to say it on this show, get him out of office where he doesn't run for president. And so that's what I would tell you. Don't worry about who's on the Republican ticket, or meaning who's on the ticket for the special election to become the next governor. Don't think about that. Don't worry about that. I mean, because anybody short of being like a dead walking corpse like Sleepy Joe, we couldn't get any worse than what we're getting now, and just focus on getting the guy out so he doesn't become president. That's the point number one. Now, the question dealt with, if we get him out of office, can he appoint himself in, if Kamala Harris gives up her seat, can Newsom appoint himself to her seat? That might be a question for you, Mike. I think technically yes, although I don't know the fine line legalities. I know that other governors have tried to do that before. Can you speak?
That would be extremely difficult. That would be extremely difficult for him to do. Technically, he might be able to do it, but for a governor to get recalled and then become a senator, even in the Democratic Party, would be kind of political suicide, right?
Yeah.
And let's not forget, well, for starters, don't forget what our senators don't do much for us anyway. And so that term with Kamala Harris would be up relatively soon. And so we have the chance to vote him out. I don't think technically, it's a good question. He might be able to, but actually that would be actually almost impossible for him to do, because the recall's in March. And if Kamala Harris was elected vice president, that would be in November. And so he would have to, well, we'll get him out of being governor of California, because he would have to resign his office to become senator in January. So that would be relatively interesting.
Yeah. Well, so a couple of people asked, so I'm just going to address this real quick. Someone asked about donations. So it's recallgavin2020.com for a donation. What your donations will go towards is anything related to the movement, but specifically to get those signature gatherers out there to get signatures. Is that right, Mike? Or do you
a little bit more than that? I want to address the question keeps coming up.
Okay.
So let's hit it between the eyes of how many signatures we have. Understand the other side, for starters, has become very aware of what we're doing. This isn't a sleepy little movement anymore. And to do that, we have to do some things, if you will, to ensure this is successful, which it will be. I want to remind again, I wasn't going to go into math lesson till later, but lo and behold, it's already 7:18, that we need 2 million signatures. That's out of about 20 million voters. Got it? Okay. Of which about 10 million or 20% are willing to sign. But a small group of people, not you on the call, are going to do everything they can to fight us tooth and nail. Understand that an initiative like the recycling initiative, let me frame this for you before I get to the answer to the question. Okay, and I'm leading up to this so you can understand the enormity of what we're doing and how we're going to get it done by being united. Just where your money goes, how many signatures we have. Got it? Okay. So the enormity of what we're doing is that recycling petition that you see in front of Walmart, the petition, the initiative, if you will, to take away, basically raise your tax basis, known as Prop 15. Those initiatives only take about 5% of the people that voted for governor last time. That's a technical lesson for everybody to understand here, that initiatives are driven out of the number of people, which was about 12 million out of 20 million, actually 14 million, whatever, who cares? 20 million registered voters, about 14 to 15 million, a little over 12 million voted in the last election. So only 5% can get an initiative on the ballot. It takes 12% of them, or the 1.475 of which we need about 2 million, to get Gavin recalled. To do this, there are periods that the Secretary of State sets up to report things for this kind of initiative. That doesn't mean we have to report them. And I want to be clear here because reporting dates come up. These are dates where they have to report what we've turned in. We need to make sure, and this is partially where your money is going, that we get signatures properly verified. This is different than was done in the last recall. We need to make sure that we get emails out to people that aren't getting to these events or joining these broadcasts. That requires money. We need to make sure, are you ready for this one? The good old-fashioned U.S. Postal Service gets stuff in the mail, which is going to cost money. So we have signatures back and forth all the time.
I get scared when he moves his hands like that, but it's usually a good thing.
That's right. Pay no attention to the other hand, which is an interesting analogy or metaphor, if you will, where we have to be really careful. The closer we get, the more signatures at the early reporting date we keep reporting, the forces are already out. There's two situations in the last week where a person came up to a volunteer and offered to buy the signatures off of them.
Wow.
Now, do you think they were getting the money to do that? And why do you think they were doing that? Because Gavin Newsom and the Democrats are going to feel threatened by this. We have to understand that the only figure which is going to count, and this doesn't mean our collection is going badly, it's going quite well. So cool the paranoia and the conspiracy theories out there. We're this united, all right? Because I know I'll get 14 texts afterwards and they'll flash across the screen. But at the end of the day, the only figure is making sure that we have enough verified signatures in on November 17th. I want everybody to metaphorically shake their head. Well, thanks for the mugshot, Cordy. That was right on cue. But I want everybody to understand.
I guess I was doing
yeah, that's shake your head. That is the only one which counts. I hear things like, how are we going to stay motivated if we don't know the exact count? Look out your friggin' window. You want to stay motivated? Take a look at the state of California.
I love it.
Or so allow me to list your house.
I've got to cut you off for more questions.
Go
I got to
for it.
cut you off, baby. So one of the questions we got here, let's see here. Is this for me personally, this question? Okay, well, I get involved
Where are you next Tuesday?
with frontline physicians regarding HCQ and vaccines. No, I definitely won't. I'm a medical choice guy. So I'm not going to state my opinion about that, but I'm a holistic doctor. So you can add that up and kind of figure out where I stand on everything. But I think if you want to choose to vaccinate your kids, you should have a choice to do that. I think that medical choice around, now don't get confused. I didn't say the A word that ends in an N, okay, and is killing little fetuses. I didn't say that. But if you want something in your body, great. If you want something on your body, great. I don't think government should dictate that. So no, I won't be getting involved with them, just to answer our viewers' question. We had some questions about donations. So I wanted to touch on that real quickly. There's the donations that Mike just talked about and what that's for recallgavin2020.com. CA Revival is going to have a different kind of donation, like where your donation goes, and it's listed on the site. And then pretty much, unless we get a donation, which, you know, you guys can go to 1776foreverfree.com. And if you say, I want this to go to the recall, we're going to take all that money and we're going to give it to Recall Gavin 2020. If you want to buy a Freedom Fighter shirt to support the rallying, or you want to make a general donation for the rallies, you can do that as well, and you can tag that. So we'll list all three of those sites. Go ahead, Mike.
Let me be clear here that I didn't get to that. Thank you for bringing back the white light. I know I'm going on tonight, but understand.
It's okay. You can go on. Buddy.
Every time I knew that, but I'm trying to work into my politeness. I'm in politeness rehab. I visited Cordy. It's holistic. So at the end of the day, right, it's going to cost, no matter how we do it. Let me be perfectly clear. No matter how we do it, it's going to cost about between $2 to $3 a signature. Got it? The more you sign, it's going to bring us down from $350 to about $225. So the more the volunteers get, drops the cost. So when you donate to Cordy and specify for the recall, California Revival, specify the recall, donate directly to us. So don't feel that when I'm only donating $10, what does it matter? It matters a lot. Think of it as an addition to your signature, every $2.50. I feel like I'm one of these Humane Society commercials, but every $2.50 that you contribute probably helps bring in another signature or petition. So if you can donate just $20, and I know we're looking for large donors and a lot talk about the top funders, every penny that you donate is going to the recall. Every time you help a cause and help these other folks run an event and specify, it's going to help the recall. So it's going to cost us between $250 and $375 per signature to get Gavin out of office. And that, believe me, is money well spent. All right, Cordy, back to you. Let's get to those.
I love
You send the $20 to recallgavin2020.com, and we have a donation tab.
So I love the eyebrows, and I loved when you were cursing with your hands. That was really cool. I'm gonna steal that one. Hopefully that's not trademarked. But to answer something, and then I'm going to get off this subject, and we'll probably have time for like maybe 5 to 10 more questions, depending on how quickly we can rattle through them. I'll be candid. I had to find out what HCQ means, hydrochloroquine. Say that 10 times. But I'm not here to give medical advice. But what I would say is anything that's a vaccine, for me personally, if it's tested on a rat for a couple of weeks and they're mandating it for everybody, that's just not my cup of tea. I would encourage you guys, you can Google some stuff if they haven't taken it down, like they took Donald Trump Jr.'s Twitter account down today. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know. I kind of think he's a swell guy. And when somebody's speaking truth, they seem to just take stuff down. So hopefully they won't take this down. But at any rate, you can look up, there's an ingredient in HCQ or hydrochloroquine called quinine. You can look that up, and there's a great video out there by Dr. Eric Naputi that talks about that ingredient and how it comes from something natural as soda water and what high levels of zinc do. So I would just encourage that. And, guys, before I go to the next question real quickly, this is a really critical time in the United States. It's a really critical time in California, and you need to be very informed. You need to be very vigilant. And you need to be ready to defend your freedom. And I'm not suggesting anything violent. I'm saying that's why you get your butt out to the rallies. That's why you sign the petition. That's why you have petition stuff at your office, or if you own your own business, that's why you get on the list. I mean, literally, Mike told me early on in this, he's like, dude, you got to get your business up there so people can come to your business. And we have like 10 people a day, at least, come in. And it's great foot traffic for your business. It could turn into some really good financial business for you. Somebody might buy something. Who knows? I will have, people are asking what my hours are. Haley will post those. I'm going to go on to a question here. Some people had some questions real quickly about the rallies. Different rallies like the Nationwide Tour, the Freedom Tour, USA.com. All those locations, a lot of them are 100% solidified. We've got one flyer for the Missouri location coming out soon. We will always be fundraising for Recall Gavin. They don't know that, but we always will be on any part of the tour. We'll be doing that. But the other thing I want you guys to know about that is because of the COVID stuff, some of the dates and times are probably going to remain the same, but that's why the locations aren't out there yet, because we've kind of had to jump through hoops. But we've got Florida and Missouri 100% confirmed, and we're about 80% on the other locations. But there should be a couple of flyers for 2 of the locations coming out soon. So those will be forthcoming. The Ventura event, it's right by the harbor in Ventura. You can find that on my Facebook page. Haley will repost that. The walkaway campaign this weekend, that's going to be in front of the Capitol. And that's all I can remember off the top of my head. Any other questions, Haley, I'll have them. And Mike, you go ahead while I'm searching the next question. Go ahead, beautiful man.
Couple things here. I see the questions flash across the screen, and I don't want you to sign online. You need to print out. But most of the general questions that people have can be answered by going to recallgavin2020.com. You want to buy a sign? Spend a few minutes on our website, or get a sign, or even get the artwork and make your own. It's right there. You want a petition, you want to find a signing event in Tarzana or Imperial Beach, like we mentioned last week, or know where to send petitions or know where to donate. We've centralized it on recallgavin2020.com. And I also want to back up what Cordy said, because as you can tell, they experimented on me with a lot of chemicals way back when. What more do I got to say? But my point being, many of your questions, and when people ask you things, because I can't remember, maybe because of the chemicals a long time ago, recallgavin2020.com. Find events. Go to our Facebook page. We cross-reference with Cordy's movement, with a lot of movements. Look at the emails that we send you. Like you talked about the event you're at Friday night. It's in the email, Cordy didn't read it apparently. It's in the email that we sent you today. We're doing this because we need to recall Gavin and we need you to get out there. But the more static, and I don't mean static in a negative way, the mission is to get signatures to recall the governor. We need 2 million. We need to make sure we have 2 million November 6th. It ends November 17th. Everybody go like this. Nothing else to me or the committee or anybody else really matters. Sorry, folks, because it's going to become irrelevant. It's like, I wonder what the value of my house will be after they drop the atomic bomb on it. I don't know, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah,
and
guys,
if we
we're
don't,
losing our state and we're losing our country too. And there's a lot of people that don't realize that. So I totally agree with that, Mike.
Okay.
I appreciate Jackie. She's talking about there's going to be 2 petition signings. There's going to be one at the old Burger King parking lot. So Jackie, what I would say is just put a location in there. And then you said Panda Express. You know, some of the viewers might know how to get in contact with you, but maybe just add that to the Facebook where you're doing those petition signings. Jackie. Yeah, guys, the other thing I would tell you is, you know, just like Mike said, you know, if you do the drop down panel and you don't, you know, and some parts of the sites or the site is too overstimulating for you. I mean, you literally, there's green buttons that show about the directions for it and all that. Click the green buttons. Like literally, you can spend 5 seconds on the Recall Gavin 2020 site, get everything you need to know, print it off, and really just reassure yourself that you're doing it right. You can spend 15 minutes. You can watch videos. I mean, there's so much information out there accessible to you. So we don't mind you guys asking the questions, but we do want you to be confident about what you're doing, what you're signing and all that. Go ahead, Mike.
It's important that you pass that information on. Those of you on the call or the broadcast on Facebook, you signed, right? And when you sign and get it in, that's great. But remember what I said, keep it simple at the beginning, where most of us haven't got a $5.4 million mansion. And I want to kind of end on this point because it's pretty big. Last night, Jay goes outside the loop in the corner box and something goes horribly wrong and the registrar's office is closed and the guy's name is Harry. Who gives a rip? Keep it simple. We need 2 million signatures. When somebody asks you, how do I recall the governor of California? What do you tell them to do? Go to recallgavin2020.com. You don't need to be an expert. Go to the website. And all right. I don't know how to make that too much clearer.
No, you can't. You can't. And if somebody's scared to go out, guys, they can literally go to the site, print it off. They can go to Kinko's. And if they want to wear that covered material, I call it a facial condom on their nose, they can go in there and print off. Literally, you can print off the petition yourself. You could not be in contact with anyone if you're too scared. Or you can come to my office where it's very safe and very clean. You can get petitions from us. Guys, like, you have to really try, and I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I'm just saying you have to really try not to find a way to do this. There's so many locations and all across the state where you could go into, and I guarantee the business owners who are behind this would totally free of charge print you stuff off. And if they wouldn't, call my office. We'll mail you stuff. We'll print it off. We'll get it all there for you so you can, you know, get however many signatures you're willing to get.
Now, Corey, let me ask you,
Yeah,
have
go
we
ahead, brother.
answered the bulk of questions? We're supposed to stop about 7:30.
Yeah, we
And
are.
the
I
person
got
whose
carried away.
house I borrowed, they may be coming home soon.
Yeah,
So
no,
the back door is
I,
open. I want to get
yeah,
out while I can. But that's a story
I
for
love
another
it.
day.
I love it.
But
Well,
anyway,
then
I
we
want
will
to make
close
sure
it
we
up.
stay within our
Go ahead.
time frame. Are there any major questions that we've missed tonight?
No, I don't think so. I don't see anything that somebody couldn't hit up on Facebook or something like that.
Okay.
I'll just remind you guys next week before Mike, I'll close this out. I'll give you your last tidbit here. You can do one of your fast, like 1 minuters. It's really funny and cute. That'd be great. Joy Villa next Wednesday, 6:45. So it won't be a bunch of attractive gentlemen with their AARP cards. No offense, guys. I'm just playing. I love you guys. But or Doogie Howser in a tie. You know, it won't be anything like that. We'll have a good looking, amazing, beautiful, intelligent woman who's fighting for freedom on here. That'll be next week, 6:45. She's going to post the links to the events. Go ahead, Mike.
Is that it?
That's
Okay,
all
I'm
I
going to
got.
end
Go
on
ahead,
this
baby.
again before I end up. And thank God, probably shouldn't worry tonight because we have a no bail policy. Even if I do get caught, I mean, story for another day. But anyway, here's the thing: it's going to cost $250 to $375 a signature. We need 2 million signatures. Counts don't matter till November 6th. Everything you're saying is important. This is the largest initiative probably in the history of the United States. And all of you are getting a chance to take part in this historic initiative. It's simple, it's easy. Spread the word, tell your neighbors, tell your friends. Hell, tell people you don't know. It's a good conversation opener, especially when you take your face mask off. Recallgavin2020.com. It is the only thing which is going to save California and probably the United States. And each of you has become a soldier with a pen in this foot war. Thank you very much. God bless and good night.
Awesome. Well, have a fantastic night, guys. Share, like, if you have any more questions, you can email us. We'll put the links down to the events. You can follow me at Cordy Lee Williams, DC, Dr. Cordy Williams. We'll always have stuff out there, 1776 forever free. All right, recallgavin2020.com. One petition, one mission. Love you guys. Have a great night. Take care. See you next week.
Out.
Out.